we'll go right to the source, the man that made it. GP TV talks to the man they call the Spielberg of video games. Plus, Lara Croft is back and raring to go. We've got our review of Tomb Raider 3. And we'll take you to the brink of destruction with our review of Twisted Metal 3. And if that's not enough for you, we'll get warped with Crash Bandicoot. That's all coming up.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of GamePro TV. Well, the holiday shopping season is officially underway, and the list of blockbuster games is longer than usual. But none may be able to compare to a game that's set to break all kinds of sale records, Zelda 64. It's time to take an inside look at one of Nintendo's biggest and most important games.
The movie industry has its event films, films that are the highlight of the season. Well, the video game industry is no different. Zelda 64 will redefine how video games are perceived, executed, and of course, enjoyed. An incredible combination of gripping storyline, phenomenal graphics, and serious gameplay make this the game that is sure to impress any and everyone that gets in its way, including the maker of the game itself. Shigeru Miyamoto is considered the Spielberg of video games. While creating such games as Super Mario, Donkey Kong, and a number of other hit titles for the Nintendo, he's raised the level of gaming over and over again. But this time, he's even impressed himself.
What's new about this Legend of Zelda is this is the new game for N64, and which can make the real virtual 3D world. So Link can now act freely inside of this new three-dimensional world. There are many monster characters which you could find in previous Zelda games, but the one I like most is the character called Dodongo. And that's a kind of rhino character, but he's very scary. He looks at you with a menacing eyes, and you have to face it squarely, and you have to use your brain to destroy him. That's the best I could tell about this Dodongo character.
Playing The Legend of Zelda is almost like reading a good book. You can't put it down. You want to get to the end to find out how it all turns out. It has a compelling storyline. It has a very interesting character. There's a compelling world, a world that makes you want to walk around in it and explore. You also get elements of puzzles, strategy, and conflict, which are classic elements in any good video game.
The hype is justified. The game pushes the power of the Nintendo 64 to a completely new level.
This game requires more than just pushing buttons. Players must think for themselves.
We'll have our review of Zelda 64, Ocarina in Time, next week. While Zelda's set to dominate the Nintendo 64 this year, the Sony PlayStation's ready to unleash its most popular company mascot into the gaming wars. The question is, does it have enough to compete the third time around? It's time to give you our review of Crash Bandicoot Warped. Who says you can't teach an old dog new tricks? Especially if it's this crazy Bandicoot, Crash. With the colossal success of the first two installments of the Crash Bandicoot series, over 5.5 million units sold, Naughty Dog Studios is ready to take you on Crash's most ambitious adventure yet. Not only is Crash Bandicoot warped, but he is warped out to the max. The graphics have been totally revamped, giving Crash a much more realistic and smoother look. Forget about dropouts and pop-ups with every turn of the road. Naughty Dog Studios took extra care to provide Crash with a seamless array of color and texture. Notice the detail in this scene as you become totally immersed in the adventure. Not only have the graphics been enhanced, but the animation as well. There's more variety in Crash's facial expressions and body movements from when he's being chased, attacked, and jumped from place to place. And the game is not only limited to its traditional jungle locale. In Crash Warped, you'll take off on an adventure around the globe, from ancient Egypt to the land of Alibaba. You're not limited to smashing boxes and searching for apples, but you are able to warp through time and space in 30 levels of the most challenging missions ever. One cool thing Naughty Dog did was adjust the gameplay to match the individual playing. For example, let's say you keep getting killed time and time again and can't get through this level. If you keep playing, you'll find more continues and extra lives than an advanced gamer. This added feature was meant to keep novice gamers from getting frustrated and ditching the whole game. As you become more experienced, the artificial intelligence will adjust, making the game much more challenging. But whatever gameplay level you're at, you'll have a blast teaching this old dog a zillion new tricks in the third installment of this amazing series. When we come back, what's up with Lara Croft these days? You'll find out in our review of Tomb Raider 3. Plus, we'll tell you how you can progress a little further in Metal Gear Solid. Don't go away.
Welcome back to the show. One drawback of success is that it's never permanent. You have to go out and prove that you're worthy of praise again and again. Well, that's a challenge for Eidos this year as they released the third game in their incredibly successful Tomb Raider series. The video game world has definitely changed since Tomb Raider 1. Let's see if Lara Croft was able to keep up.
The third time may be the charm for this incredible popular series. Lara Croft is back in probably her best adventure to date. Right off the top, the most notable improvement in this title are in its graphics. The producers over at Eidos have gone high-res with this year's adventure, and the improvements are definitely apparent. Gone are the grainy environments that Lara used to explore. Not only are the graphics tighter, but little touches have been added, like Lara's footprints on the ground and shell casings falling to the ground while she's shooting. All of these touches add to the overall effect of the game. The game's producers use an entirely new graphics machine for TR3, giving everything a rounder, more realistic look. Plus, gone are the brown, murky environments of the first two games. TR3's full of color. Lara's also got a few new moves, like the ability to crawl in hard-to-reach places and swing from way up high, monkey bar style. All of these new tricks can be worked on in Lara's massive house, a house that is a testament to how much money she's made over the years. There's the infamous indoor pool, the walk-in freezer stacked with meat, and of course, the workout room. Here you can work on all of her moves. She'll need the practice. The game starts off in the jungles of India. This is when you can really see the graphic improvements in the game. The lighting effects are awesome. Check out the fog. After this level, you can make the choices to where Lara's headed for next. Either London, Area 51 in Nevada, or the South Pacific Islands. All with puzzles that will at times boggle the mind. The ability to travel through this game's non-linear style is refreshing and unique. Plus, it creates the feeling that the plot isn't being decided for you. As usual, there are a lot of weapons to stuff into Lara's backpack, but don't expect to use them as much as you did in Tomb Raider 2. TR3 is more of a puzzle-solving adventure than its action-oriented predecessor. In any other year, TR3 would be the biggest title of the season, but with Metal Gear Solid and Zelda making huge waves, it'll be tough for Lara to dominate the way that she used to. But don't be turned off by the fact that this is the third game of the series. Not only is it the third one, it's also probably the best one. Make it a point to fit it into your video gaming schedule. Sweet Tooth is back. Get ready to tear up the highway with Twisted Metal 3 by 989 Studios this holiday season. At first glance, the graphics in TM3 are subpar compared to Twisted Metal 2. As you can see, the cars and environments are heavily pixeled and a bit ratty looking. But despite this minor drawback, the gameplay is as fierce as ever. You'll find all your favorite car crunchers from Mr. Grimm, Thumper, Axel, Hammerhead, and Warthog. Plus a few more road ragers have been added to the chaotic frenzy. They have all been retooled and revamped with even more firepower and realistic driving sensations. With the Dual Shock, you'll feel every crunch, smash, and explosion as you tear up any one of the 8 cities around the world. In TM3, you'll have a blast creating utter chaos in the North Pole, London, and through the Great Pyramids. With its new 3D engine, you'll have no problem performing killer combo moves from Freeze and Blast, rear attacks, and many more, which should be a lot easier than in Twisted Metal 2. Another bonus in Twisted Metal 3 is the all-new artificial intelligence. In TM3, after you annihilate your opponent, the computer will remember what you did and track you down with no remorse. The gameplay in Twisted Metal 3 is no longer point, aim, blast, but requires much more thinking and strategy. Your opponents are smarter, faster, and much more powerful. Although the graphics in Twisted Metal 3 may not have improved from 2 years ago, 989 Studios has definitely raised the bar in terms of gameplay. This holiday season, get set for the ultimate road rage with Twisted Metal 3 by 989 Studios. Last week, we gave you the 411 on how to get through the first few stages of Metal Gear Solid. We ended our briefing setting you up for a battle with this guy.
Revolver Ocelot.
Well, if you've been having a tough time making your way past this old-school sharpshooter, we're gonna give you a helping hand.
I've been waiting for you, Solid Snake.
In your battle with Revolver, the crucial point to keep in mind is that your main objective is to rescue the AT president. Of course, that's difficult due to the fact that he's wired to enough C4 explosives to blow the entire room. The explosives are triggered by the infrared sensors surrounding him, so don't get too close. The best way to beat Revolver is to pay close attention to his shooting rate. He can only fire off 6 bullets before having to reload. While he's blasting away, dodge his shots from the opposite side of the room. Once he runs out of ammo, charge him while he's reloading. One word of caution. Any use of explosives could trigger the C4 attached to the president, so don't go hurling grenades. One tactic you could use, though, are strategically placed C4 explosives. The best place to put these are in the corners of the room. Trigger them once Ocelot passes by, and he'll take a big hit in his energy level.
You were lucky. We'll meet again!
Now head to the tank hangar on level 1. A moment later, your obstacles increase. The 3 things to keep in mind when facing this big fella are the tank shells fired at you, getting run over, and the machine gun fire you'll encounter when you get up close. First things first, use your shaft grenades to disrupt the main tank cannon. Now you can move in for the kill. Now your goal is to avoid getting squashed by the tank. At the same time, you're going to need to whip out some of your serious explosives. The best way to blow the tank to smithereens is by tossing grenades right on top. This may take some time, because not only are you still trying to avoid the tank, but there's also a machine gunner taking shots at you as well. After a couple of explosions, this tank will be history. The next boss you'll encounter will be the Cyber Ninja in the laboratory on level B2. The ninja is quick, has stealth technology, and a vicious sword. A sword that can be used to slice you down to size and block anything you shoot at him. Guns are worthless against this dude, and he's too quick for any explosives. The only tactic for success is to put away all your firepower and start swinging.
Good. Now we can fight as warriors, hand to hand.
Now it's just a matter of getting in as many hits as possible to get his energy level down. Once it does reach a certain level, he'll resort to stealth technology and begin to hide like a coward. But don't get too cocky. He can sneak up on you and take you out pretty quick. Unfortunately for the ninja, the stealth technology isn't all that good. Look out for the ripple effect it creates, and you'll notice that he isn't too hard to spot. Once you tag him a couple of times in this mode, he'll enter probably his most devastating attack of the fight, a teleport/sucker punch attack. His punch packs a pretty good wallet, so stay clear with quick punches of your own. A few punches from you, and the ninja will find himself in a world of hurt. Whip out your gun and blast him 3 times to end the fight. Hopefully these tips will help you get through some of the tougher parts of the game. But trust us, it gets tougher. Check GamePro magazine for more tips, and enjoy. When we come back, the fate of the world as we know it rests in the hands of actors James Earl Jones and Michael Biehn. We'll take you behind the scenes of the making of Command&Conquer, Tiberian Sun.
Welcome back to the show. This is a time of year when most gamers are absolutely overwhelmed by the amount of titles being released. As a result, your focus shifts to the bigger ones and could possibly allow smaller titles to slip through the cracks. Big mistake. It's time to give you our review of a game that may not be up to par with Zelda 64, but one you might want to at least check out. Buck Bumble is one of those games that must have been difficult to pitch to developers. It's a shooter along the scale of Star Fox, but it stars a cyborg bumblebee blazing through merry old England. It may sound a little far-fetched, but for the most part, the concept works. Your mission is to take on an army of mutated bugs known as the Herd and blow them to bits. If you're afraid the game may be a little too childish, don't worry about it. Action in this title is frantic and non-stop. Plus, it's downright hard to finish. In fact, it may be almost too difficult to finish. Buck Bumble only has one level of play, hard. The difficulty settings are unadjustable. The graphics are solid and, for the most part, pretty impressive, especially up close, but things can get pretty hazy when looking off into the distance. There was a great deal of fog effect used in Buck Bumble. It may have been an attempt by the game's producers to set the mood for the game, but what results is a drab, muddy look. Buck Bumble is a solid shooter-slasher adventure game and was very well produced, but it's one of those games that may have a hard time standing out from the competitive holiday release crowd. If you do get your hands on it, it should keep your attention, at least for a while. Different games use different tactics to help get your attention.
some count on the unique look and feel of a title, while others depend on the reputation of a successful series to sway you. One more tactic is star power, and that's a strategy the folks over at Westwood Studios are using in their latest title, Command&Conquer. This is the third installment in the successful Command&Conquer series by Westwood Studios. To take the cinematic intermissions to the next level, the producers brought in the heavy hitters. James Earl Jones, the famed actor from the movies like Star Wars and The Lion King, and Michael Biehn from The Rock and Aliens. Both were in Red Rock, California to film the scenes of the game.
I'm rolling video.
The Command&Conquer world has been in development now for well over 5 years, and when we first started thinking about the story and the direction that we were taking the characters in, Michael Biehn was #1 on everybody's list in terms of who we wanted to play our hero, who we wanted in that McNeil role. We were so pleased when we got him, and all of our expectations of what Michael was going to deliver for us have been met superbly. He's just a very exciting actor and great fun to work with. We're just having a great time.
We're just telling a story inside of the game, and we're just like, it seems to me what we're doing is we're leading the game player up to a point and say, okay, now you take over, and they take over with the game playing. They cut back to me and go, whew, man, attacking that supply base is really tough. Now I think we should, go rescue Umagon.
It was the first time either Michael Biehn and James Earl Jones have been involved with a video game. But for Jones, it does have some similarities to a few other of his projects.
Now there's a thing called voice acting. You get great actors playing Disney cartoons, and other kinds of cartoons. And it's a lot of fun. And one learns a great deal, too. But that craft is a special craft. And so I suspect that'll happen with the CD-ROM, too.
As far as the acting goes, no, I mean, the camera's the same, the sound's the same. The lighting, the waiting, the call times, the caterer, the lunch.
Action! As a director, it's a joy to work with such actors, mostly from a lazy point of view, because it makes my job so much easier. I pretty much plan on sitting in the motorhome and just phoning all my directions in, because they're going to be so good. How much of me do they really need?
Command&Conquer, Tiberian's Son, set to be released later this month. 1998 has been a great year for all types of racing games. From Gran Turismo to Test Drive 5 to off-road wheeling and Rallycross 2. Well, Midway has just added another to the turbocharged mix. Rev up for Rush 2 Extreme Racing USA for the N64. In Rush 2, jump into any one of 16 hot rods and blaze through Las Vegas, Hawaii, New York, LA, and even Alcatraz. Midway totally revamped Rush 2 compared to Rush 1, with much improved graphics and paid particular attention to detail. Just check out the time spent to make the Las Vegas Strip look as realistic as ever. The control in Rush 2 has also been upgraded, providing gamers with a much more fluid feel compared to Rush 1, which was a bit sluggish. Another improvement from Rush 1 is that before you race, you can set up your car any which way you see fit. You can adjust the acceleration, tires, steering, or if you simply want, a new paint job. The possibilities are endless. If you're looking for another racing game to add to your collection or feel like tearing up the Las Vegas Strip, check out Rush 2 Extreme Racing USA by Midway. Stick with us. GamePro TV will be right back. Supercomputer Animal Racing Simulation. In short, S.C.A.R.S. If you thought you've seen all the racing games out there, think again. Venture into the 31st century, where computers rule the world. Your mission is to battle it out in one of 9 attack vehicles, which resemble animals of the previous century. In your race for supremacy, you'll blaze across beautifully rendered landscapes, picking up several weapons, power-ups, bombs, missiles, and shields. And similar to Mario Kart, up to 4 people can join in on the chaotic frenzy. The control in S.C.A.R.S is right on as you effortlessly fly across the futuristic environment and blast your opponents at will. Similar to titles like Twisted Metal and Vigilante 8, you'll spend hours battling it out and racing on a variety of killer courses. If you're looking for a Mario Kart-style game with a definite edge, take a bite out of S.C.A.R.S by Ubisoft for the Sony PlayStation. Well, that does it for this week's show. Join us again next week for more reviews, previews, and tips of the hottest video games. So until then, play on.